الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا أما بعد. Today I want to bring to your attention, my dear brothers and sisters, the incident and a small biography of one of the esteemed prophets of Allah the Almighty, which many of us do not have much knowledge about. This is none other than Sayyiduna Ayyub alayhi salam, the Prophet Ayyub alayhi salam. The incident and his life is one of affluency, the one of richness, and then of total loss of wealth, loss of family, and loss of health. And then make mention that on one occasion, Iblis, he challenged Allah the Almighty, and he says to Allah, Ya Rabb, O my Lord, sallitni ala malihi wa waladi. O Allah, give me influence, give me authority and power over the wealth and the children, the family of Ayyub alayhi salam. And they go on to say that he had up to 13 or 14 children. Allah had blessed him with many things. He had all the wealth you could think of at the time. He had the camels and the cows. He had the goats and the sheep. He had all the vegetation and the crop and the land you could think of. He had the biggest house, and he was known for his piety. He was known to be that person who would fear Allah. And how could it not be such? He was the Prophet of Allah at the end of the day. So he was given all this. And now Iblis wants to attack him. So it comes to Allah and he makes a challenge. Oh Allah, give me influence and power over his wealth and his children. You will see, he's making the challenge, you will see that Ayyub, he will disobey you and he will obey me. This is what Iblis challenged Allah. You will see Ayyub alayhi salam, he will disobey you, O Allah, and he shall follow me, he shall obey me. So it was said to Iblis that you've got the authority, you've got the influence. Do as you will, let's see what happens. So Iblis, he returns to his people, to his shayateen, to his minions. He gathers them together and they're coming up with plans, they're plotting. So what did he do? He sent a few of them, go and round up all the animals that is in the property of Ayyub alayhi salam. All the cows, the sheep, the camels, whatever you can find, gather them together and then escort them until they reach the sea and then drown them there. So his shayateen, they went, they took all the animals, they escorted them from his property all the way to the sea until they were drowned. Now Iblis comes in the form of a well-wisher to Ayyub alayhi salam. He finds him in prayer. He addresses him. He says, Ala araka usalli? Do I see you praying, O Ayyub? And the wind has come and the storm has come and has taken and driven all of your animals to sea, and they're all gone. Ayyub alayhi salam, during his prayer, he did not give any answer. He finished and completed his salah, his prayer. And then he makes a dua, Alhamdulillahi alladhi razaqani thumma qabilahu minni. That all praise belongs to Allah, who has given me sustenance, who has provided for me, and who has accepted from me. At this, Iblis, he lost all hope. فَانْصَرَفَ خَائِبًا. He returned back empty-handed. His plan did not work. Now he regroups with his shayateen. They come up with a second plan. Now the plan is that we're going to go and we're going to destroy and burn all the vegetation, all the crop and land he has. So they get together, they go out and they burn down everything. They burn down his trees, his vegetations, his crops, all gone. Again, Iblis comes to Ayyub alayhi salam and the same conversation takes place. And Iblis returns empty-handed, nothing. He gets no reaction. He does not receive the reaction that he wanted, that he challenged Allah with. Now they make the third plan. So the shayateen went and then they caused an earthquake to happen by his home. An earthquake happened by his home in which lived his family. His children were inside, the 13 or the 14 children that he had. And it came to the point that the earthquake was so severe, the building collapsed, and his entire family, except for his wife, had died. He's lost his entire family. His animals are gone, his land is gone, his family is gone. Yet again, Iblis approaches him and he does not get the reaction that he was expected. Now he goes back to Allah and he says to Allah, "Oh my Lord, please give me influence and power over his body. Allow me to affect him physically now. I tried financially, I tried emotionally, I had no response from him. Allow me to affect him. Allow me to affect him physically." And Allah granted this. It's a test from Allah. Now Iblis came back and he caused an illness. And as Ibn al-Jawzi says that he blew something into the feet of Ayyub alayhi salam, and he started to feel hot and his skin started to flake away. And he started to have pits growing in his skin. Insects and animals were coming out of it. You could see his skin deteriorating. You could see his bones, his veins, his meat was coming off. He started to itch all over his body. And he started to scratch himself to the point where Ibn al-Jawzi says his fingernails had come off. He took other means, he took stones, and he was trying to get rid of the itch, and he wasn't going. His body started to rot. It came to the point now where the people could not stand the stench that was coming off his body. So they exiled him and pushed him out of the city, put him into the corner, made a small hut for him there, a small shed. And nobody would come near him, nobody would speak to him. You could imagine the test he's going through at this moment. Nobody would speak to him. The only person there that was there to serve him was none other than his wife, Rahma. They say her name was Rahma, who was the grandson or granddaughter of Yusuf alayhi salam. Nevertheless, and it came to a point where she became in need. And now she wasn't able to give time to her because there's no income. There's no money left. She had to work. Now Ayyub alayhi salam is left alone. And as such happens, that on one occasion, that whilst he's in his hut, his shed, he hears a few people walking past. He hears a few people walking past, and they're talking to one another. And what are they saying? You know this person Ayyub, he must have done a sin which Allah cannot forgive. He must have done a sin which Allah cannot forgive. And for that reason he is being tested. He used to be the richest and the wealthiest person amongst us. He had all the wealth you could think of. He had the family life. He had all the luxury. But now he's got nothing. Nobody's going near him. He must have done something wrong. He must have done a sin. And when Ayyub alayhi salam, he heard this, he called out to Allah. As Allah tells us in Surah Al-Anbiya, وَأَيُّوبَ إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ أَنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Prior to this, Ayyub alayhi salam, he was afraid that if he picked up his hand and he said to Oh Allah, I am going through this problem, I am being afflicted with this pain, I am facing this calamity and this test, he was afraid that he'd be complaining to Allah about Allah. How many times do we find ourselves, Oh Allah, why did you do this to me? Oh Allah, why did it happen like this? We question the authority of Allah. And Ayyub alayhi salam was afraid of this, and he did not question the authority of Allah. He was afraid that he would go against qadr and taqdeer and predestiny. But at this point, when he heard the people accusing him of a sin which he had not committed, he picked up his hand and he said, Rabbi, anni massani ad-dur, oh my Lord, a adversity, a calamity, a pain has touched me, has afflicted me. Wa anta arhamur rahimin, and you are the most compassionate. You are the most compassionate. This is all he said. This is the dua that he made to Allah. Oh Allah, I've been afflicted with pain. And not to say that he was complaining about Allah. He was afflicted with pain. And in response to this dua, for his patience and his perseverance, for him staying upright and steadfast, what did Allah say? فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. We responded to his prayer. فَكَشَفْنَا مَا بِهِ مِنْ ضُرٍّ. That pain and the calamity he was facing, it was removed for him. removed for him. And not only that, وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَهْلَهُ وَمِثْلَهُمْ مَعَهُمْ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا. وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَهْلَهُ. We replaced his family. We brought his family back to him. And we gave him equal to that. So the scholars, they explain that he was given double what he had from before. And you open up the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, and you find the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us that it came to a point then Allah started blessing Ayyub alayhi salam, that lotus, an insect, would fall on his lap around him, which were made out of gold. Made out of gold. And he would pluck these and take these and he put them into his pockets, and he was gathering all of them together. And then Allah the Almighty asked him, "Oh Ayyub, are you satisfied now?" And he responded, "How can we ever be satisfied with the rahmah of Allah?" With the rahmah of Allah. The scholars, they explain that the only two limbs which was not affected by the illness was his heart and his tongue. Why? So that he could remain a dhakir and a shakir, somebody who is remembering Allah the Almighty, somebody who would be thanking Allah the Almighty. We might be thinking to ourselves, all this has been taken away from him. How can he be somebody who is shakir, who is grateful? His heart was left untouched. Why? So that he could continue to remember Allah. He could continue to remember Allah. Now, he's been given back his health and his wealth. What's the lesson in it for us, my brothers and sisters? What do we take back from this incident of Ayyub alayhi salam? How long did he stay in this predicament, in this trial? The scholars, they say up to 18 years he was going through this. Nobody was having contact with him. What's the lesson in it for us? Number one lesson, my dear brothers and sisters, is that we cannot become complacent. We cannot become satisfied and think that I am well off, I am doing well, complacent. We cannot become, and we cannot be thinking to ourselves that this will never happen to me. I've got the wealth, I've got the family, I've got the nice house, I've got the nice car, I've got the latest device, I've got a good amount of money in my bank account. We cannot think to ourselves that I have done it all and Allah cannot take it away from me. If Ayyub alayhi salam, who is a beloved prophet of Allah, and this could be done to him, then who are you and me, my brothers and sisters? It could be taken away from us in an instance. So we don't become content with what we have. We continue to praise Allah. We continue to show our thanks to Allah for giving us what He has given us. وَإِذْ تَأَذَّنَ رَبُّكُمْ لَإِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَإِنْ كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. And remember the time when your Lord announced, if you are grateful, I will most surely give you more. Without doubt, He will increase you. You've got business, you're happy, you're thankful to Allah, Allah will give you more. You've got a family, Allah will give you more barakah. You've got a job, Allah will give you barakah. You're in education, you are happy, you are thankful to Allah, Allah will give you more, give you the grades you want. It will come, but we need to be grateful. وَلَئِن كَفَرْتُمْ. Let's look at the other part of the verse. If you're ungrateful, you want to question the authority of Allah, we're not happy with the decisions of Allah, إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. All Allah has to say is that indeed, my punishment is severe. May Allah protect us. So we cannot become complacent. We cannot think to ourselves that we've done it and it cannot be taken away from us. It can be taken away from us at a moment's notice. Number two is that we need to be patient at the time of calamity. We need to be patient and we cannot lose hope. If Ayyub alayhi salam, he did not lose hope after going through all that and he saw the light at the end of the tunnel, then brothers and sisters, our tests and trials are not as severe, and perhaps it might be. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that the ones who are tested the greatest, أَشَدُّ النَّاسِ بَلَاءً الْأَنْبِيَاء, the one who receive the greatest of tests and trials are the prophets. ثُمَّ الصَّالِحُونَ, then those who are pious and righteous. And then he says ثُمَّ الْأَمْثَلْ فَالْأَمْثَلْ, and then those who follow in pursuit. The greater our iman, the greater our taqwa, the greater and closer we are to Allah, the greater the trial and the tribulation that will come our way. أَفَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do the people think that just because we said we believe, that they're going to be left untouched, untested? It's a part and parcel of being a Muslim. We will be tested. But it is our choice how we deal with that test. If we are patient and we are happy with the decision of Allah the Almighty, things will fall into place and we will receive the reward which is promised. إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Allah the Almighty, He says that the reward of those who are patient is given without any number, without any account, without any hisab, which is given limitless. There's no number put to it. We cannot account for it. I end with one hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "Ajaban li'amri al-mu'min, inna amrahu kullahu khair." That how amazing is the affairs of a believer. How amazing is the affairs of a believer. That all of his affairs are goodness and is a means of khair for him. And this is only for the believers. وَلَيْسَ ذَاكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا لِمُؤْمِنٍ. It's only for the believers. What is it? إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. If goodness comes his way, if things of happiness come his way, then he is grateful. And this is the best thing for him. You're grateful, you're going to get more. You're grateful, you're going to get more. You're going to receive more. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرًّا. And if a trial, a tribulation, a pain, an affliction, adversity comes your way, صَبَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. He is patient. And this is the best thing for him. Let's not forget, Allah will reward that person with immense reward which cannot be calculated. So let's go back to Ayyub alayhi salam and let's understand his incident, his story. Let's take a lesson from it. And the scholars, they explain, look at Ayyub alayhi salam, look at Yusuf alayhi salam, the trials and tribulation he went through. Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam, look at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If we want comfort in our lives, we know we're going through problems and difficulties. Relate yourself to one of these prophets and see how we find the results for ourselves. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمد عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا من فتنة المحيا والممات وقنا من فتنة الغنى والفقر وقنا من فتنة المسيح الدجال. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون وأقيموا الصلاة.